Welcome to Film Jury, where movies stand trial and the verdict is always final. In every episode, our roundtable of film fanatics becomes the jury, dissecting the visuals, the sound, the storytelling, and the performances as they examine every element that makes or breaks a movie, because every film deserves its verdict. Warning, this podcast does contain strong language and major spoilers are ahead. Court is now in session. What is going on, and welcome to our latest episode of the Film Jury Podcast, where we're continuing our holiday horror series. And in this episode, we are doing the remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night. And as we discussed in last week's podcast, this is actually the second remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night. But this film was released in 2025. It's directed by Mike Nelson, starring Rohan Campbell and Ruby Modine. I am the traumatized protagonist, your host, James Patrick.
I am Meagan and kill all the fucking Nazis.
There you go.
I am Kat Stratford, and I can't wait to get into this with you guys.
So this is why I was excited about this movie. Not because I had any connection to the earlier film, as we talked all about in last week's episode. Was not something I enjoyed watching the first time. Really did not enjoy watching it the second time, and really did not like watching all the other movies in this franchise and reading the novelization that led up to this. But here's why I wanted to watch this movie, was exclusively for Rohan Campbell. And I'll give context of why I was so excited about Rohan Campbell playing Billy Chapman. Rohan Campbell, my first introduction to Rohan Campbell was when he played Corey. I think he played Corey Chapman. Corey something. Corey C. I know it was a C. He was the one who became Michael Myers' protege in the last Halloween movie, Halloween Ends. And he did a phenomenal job in Halloween Ends, becoming the new Shape, becoming the new killer. The problem was he wasn't Michael Myers. And the fans were so mad that we had an entire movie dissecting the creation of evil, the idea of evil. Is it nature or nurture, or is it a homogenization of both being like shown through Rohan Campbell's character, Corey, in the film Halloween Ends? And I thought he was given such an unfair critique because he was brilliant in that movie. So when they announced that he was going to be playing the slasher in this movie, I'm like, perfect casting, perfect choice. This is the person who finally will have the opportunity to play the villain without the shadow of Michael Myers being held over him and not given his fair due. So I was, but I didn't see any trailers for this. I read nothing about this leading up to it. I went into this completely blind because I wanted this experience. And yeah, so that was kind of my going into it. But I'm curious, like, where you guys are at going into this movie. You know, obviously you were assigned to see it, but any preconceived notions about it, any hesitations about going into this movie? I'm gonna open it up there.
So I saw this film before watching the 84 version.
I'm sorry.
So I didn't have, like, I literally went in cold, no expectations. Other than that, I knew it was a Christmas themed slasher, and I'm really more of a paranormal horror girly. Slashers don't move me in mysterious ways usually, so I was prepared for kind of a drag.
Yeah, I went in, seeing the 1984 film before I saw this, so I did not have high expectations whatsoever. I just kind of went in and I was like, okay, we'll give it a shot, but like I was not expecting what I got. So
I think the subversion of expectation is going to be the theme of this episode, because I don't think any of us got what we thought we were going to get, even if we, like Kat, saw them in reverse order. If you go in expecting to see a slasher movie, you are not going to see a slasher movie. And I don't remember at what point in the movie I realized we were going in a different direction. but I was buckled up and I was all for it. So let's dive in. We open up, and here's the first thing I noticed when we opened up that made me super nervous. 7 production company logos we opened up with. Whenever I see lots of production companies involved, I think, 1, lots of changing of hands, and 2, lots of studio interference. I get really nervous when I'm like, "Oh god, how many are there?" I start thinking, 7 production companies. 7 had to make this low budget movie. That's a problem. We're in for a long ride. So I'm not excited going into this. But we open up similar to 1984, we open up on Christmas Eve. And I'm like, "Okay, we're gonna play out the same, like, we're gonna see this childhood trauma where young Billy Chapman is off with his parents to go visit, his father's father, so his grandfather, um, and we're gonna have this weird interaction between Billy and his grandfather." Like, a lot of it's playing synonymously with 1984, with a few exceptions. Like, the one thing I wrote down that I noticed that was really interesting is, Billy's sitting in the lobby and, one of the patients, or I guess one of the residents of this elder care home, is getting in his face, offering him a Werther's Original. Which perfect candy choice, by the way. I was like, my grandmother's house was filled with Werther's Original, but also love how they had the camera. They used I think it was a 50 millimeter lens, but they had it right in the lady's face, real like inches away. So her face is sort of distorting around the edges and kind of coming into the frame of the camera. I was like, yeah, that's how kids see old people. That's accurate for how kids see old people. But then we have to watch, in this movie, all of a sudden, this I think is where it starts to go off the original script. Billy's grandfather dies in front of him. He starts vomiting blood, and we see Billy's reaction to what's happening. Now, Kat, you saw these in reverse order, but Meagan, what are you thinking right now when all of a sudden we start to change the narrative here?
Already I'm thinking this is, a totally different start. What's happening? Like I'm thinking this is actually like a good start to it because yes, we have the same kind of theme, but I didn't think that like it was for one better acted.
Mhm.
For two, I just felt like, oh, hey, like we see some sympathy and some empathy in Billy. Like we see like this kid who is watching, who's scared to death because his grandfather's dying. Like even though his grandfather, was telling him the same kind of thing, like naughty and nice, but you're seeing like this interaction of like maybe this is why he's traumatized, like not just being something that you're just being naughty, you're just being nice, and that's your trauma. That's your trauma. Like it was more than that. It was watching his grandfather die in front of him.
Yeah. We then go to, they're driving away, and the parents are having an argument, but we don't have much context about the argument. We hear something about pills, and that's really, and did they sign the papers? I mean, as much as we're getting, and
Billy is asking some important religious questions, and the parents are being pretty fishy with their answers for some reason.
For sure.
If my kid asks me, "Is Grandpa in heaven now?" Yes, baby Billy, Grandpa's in heaven now, but they're super dodgy about it.
I took that as, kid, my dad just died. Maybe pump the brakes on the questions. That was my read on it. As we'll find incorrectly, but that was my take on it. Is they're so distracted when we find out what they're distracted with later, but they're so distracted, I thought, with what had happened, the trauma of what had happened, that they can't give their son this attention he's so desperately seeking.
So full disclosure, in the first few minutes of the movie, so I'm a hearing aid user, and without my hearing aids, I'm mostly deaf. So I have to use a caption reader when I go to the theater. 50% of the time I miss the first 5 minutes of the movie because I have to trade in my caption reader for one that works.
Mm-hmm.
So I missed the first scene where Grandpa kicks the bucket, and I come into the parents answering these questions, and maybe because I'm missing that context, but right away that struck me as kind of an odd way to answer that question.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel the same way about that you do, Kat. Like I just don't think like when you have kids, like I mean I don't know, but like I just feel like you would be just more like okay, like to kind of comfort your child, you know, that someone just died in front of them.
As
Yeah.
a parent, I'll say yes, but my child asks no less than 474 questions an hour. It is at some point you're like, I don't know, buddy. I don't know. Maybe not about death, but you know, why do
Oh,
light poles exist? I don't know, buddy. They're there. Like, why do you think? Turn up the radio. So Kat, did you see the shot that was on the janitor?
No,
You didn't see.
no.
Okay,
So
so they
like we get a big close up of Santa's face when we get to the car piece. We get a big close up of his face, and it is very apparent to me, the viewer, that we are supposed to recognize him. So I know that at some point he appeared earlier in the film,
yeah,
despite me missing it. These are kind of the weird things that you
it's
have to like just kind of like connect the dots when you are like a hard of hearing like person going to the movies.
they did a quick shot of the janitor, and I don't know if I wrote down the name. I want to say Charles. Um,
It was
Charlie.
Charles.
Charlie. And he's just spying on the family at the home before
in a
the
creepy way. Yes.
yeah before, so we know, we're like, okay, that's the killer, like we know who that is. I did find it interesting when like he rear ends them at a stoplight, and the dad's like, oh, I'll just walk up to him and talk to him, even though the fact is, his side mirror is shattered, or his side window is shattered. Like, oh, this aggressive driver. No worries. I'm just gonna walk up and just have a jolly old chat with him. It's like, buddy, you kind of asked for that one, Dad. But then we cut, like pretty quickly. We cut. I'm like, oh, we're not going to show the whole trauma, which I'm okay with. I don't need to see a big ol' R scene. I don't need that. And I was like, and now we see adult Billy. And he's living this nomadic lifestyle, and he's hearing a voice. And I'm like, interesting. And he's what, like in a motel room, and we see like there's a dead body in the bathtub, and we hear this voice. I'm like, so is he crazy? And I wasn't placing the voice at first. I was like, is that the grandfather's voice? Is the grandfather guiding him? Like I was a little, because I was expecting 1984. And all of a sudden we have him already as a killer. Like we've skipped over all this, and I'm like, whoa, what happened here? He's kind of like leaving the scene of the crime. And the voice is, this isn't our room. And I'm like, what is going on here? But then here's where I noticed something that was interesting. I wrote this down. As he's leaving this crime scene where he killed this person, we are to believe he killed this person, and he like takes their blood and he smears it into this really gross, oozing, moist advent calendar. Yeah,
Tell me more about, like, describe this advent calendar, because it's important. Like, it looks like a witch's grimoire or something. It's like a big wooden tome, and you open it up, and it has the days just like any advent calendar, but like this does kind of look like some kind of ancient magical thing. And like it is gross, and it is a little gratuitous when we see the blood smear in there.
It's like something that Krampus would have.
But like it gives it more like of a witchy sort of like you said, is he crazy, or is it like, you start asking yourself, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the film Frailty, but like
Yes.
That's another film that has you asking those same questions. I also loved the slow reveal. Like, we knew it was coming, but I love the slow reveal because we just see adult Billy. We're not really sure what happened after that night because we only get partial flashbacks at first. But like, so we see adult Billy. He's in a motel room. We can tell he's kind of a drifter, and we hear that voice saying, "Do what you need to do and get out. This isn't our room." And in the background, like, he's brushing his teeth and stuff. In the background, we can see like a shower curtain, and just a slight tinge. The background's kind of blurry, so there's just a slight tinge of red, and you're like, "What's that?" And then the camera pans, and we're like, there's the reveal, there's the body in the bathtub, and now we know exactly who Billy is.
I would say at first I was a little disappointed, not for any reason other than I was like, wait, are we not going to see how he became a killer? And the movie takes care of that, but at first I was, once again, because I am anchoring this against 84. And I have an expectation that we are going to play the beats synonymously. But here was the clue that something different was going to happen. When he left the room, what did he do to the maid's cart?
$20 tip.
Tipped them.
Yep.
He tipped the maids because they had to go in and clean up a room full of bodies. And I was like, well, that's interesting. I'm glad I'm not the only one that clocked that. And then he jumps on a bus, has a nightmare. So we have a little bit more of a flashback. I'm like, okay, we're going to see this in bits and pieces. They're not going to show us the whole thing of what happened because, and I don't know yet, but obviously something really significant transpires. And this is where I start to gather, oh, that's not his grandfather's voice. That was the killer's voice. That's Charlie's voice he's hearing. And the voice is kind of funny, kind of snarky. Like, they pull into the town called Hackett and the voice like, huh, great name. And I was like, huh, great name. I'm like mimicking the voice.
You developed a voice in your head while you were watching it. Is that what happened?
And we gather that the voice is guiding him, but we're not is like, he's crazy, right? Like he's crazy. Like he's just a nut job. But all of a sudden the voice is starting to reveal that there's history here. Oh, kid, this never ends well. Like that was another thing he said. I was like, interesting. Like I am so like I've full at this point, like when he goes into the gift shop and he's kind of navigating around the gift shop and he sees Ruby Modine's character, Pam. I'm like, okay, I am putting away 1984 and I am fully buckled up for 2025. Where are we going? Where are we taking this?
I love when we hear the voice say, like, because this, I think the first time we hear this is in the gift shop and we see, what's that guy's name? George. We see a guy talking to our main love interest, Pam.
Yeah, George.
And the voice says, I'm starting to get that feeling again. And like, we don't know if at that point is the feeling that the voice has the urge to kill just because he has an urge to kill, a possessive nature over the love interest or whatever, or is this voice like tapped into something more omniscient?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're questioning the whole time.
Here's something I'm curious what your thoughts were. Anytime the voice says, like when he sees someone, George, Daphne, he's like, I'm getting that feeling again. We see these quick cuts and quick flashes of violence. What I think I am seeing at that moment is I think I am seeing Billy projecting his future kill of this person.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you guys are reading? We find out later that's not it, but is that what you guys are reading, that he's imagining killing them?
Yes. At first, That's what I thought.
That is totally what I thought. And I think that's what they intended me to think. And you got me good, guys.
Mm-hmm. We meet Ruby Modine's character, Pam. and we see this chemistry start to develop between them. I like it. I think this is I recognize Ruby Modine, but I don't know where I recognize her from. Like I pulled up her filmography. I'm like, I don't know if I've seen any of these.
Yeah,
I
what
recognize her from somewhere. But this feels pretty authentic to me. This feels like they're playing pretty well off of each other.
Yeah. Him and Pammy definitely have a connection for sure. And it's a weird connection, you know, like you see like a connection between two people and you're like, because she's so hot tempered and she's so there's something different about her. So like the fact that he's like attracted to that, and then you're just wondering like what's more to her character, like what's going on with her to make this kind of like crazy person and this, you know, kind of overly angry person connect so well.
Everyone's gonna roll their eyes and hate me for this one, but they had kind of a Joker Harley Quinn energy.
Yeah.
Like not the Suicide Squad one, okay? Like don't come for me. Not Jared Leto's Joker, but the canon couple.
Yeah. We also get a little bit of a back story on, or subplot on, there's someone kidnapping kids. And the feeling I was getting, and I wasn't sure where it was going, I was like, and I'm just like, okay, someone's kidnapping kids. That's going to be the big bad. Billy's going to have to take on the big bad at some point. And I'm thinking it's either Pam or her dad. That's the read I'm getting, that either the dad, who's this sweet, funny, gregarious, kind of jokester guy, is going to end up being really evil, or, oh, we're starting to see that there's all these fractures in Pam's character. She's the bad. She's the one kidnapping kids, and Billy's going to have to confront that. And that's going to be, and maybe that's why the voice saying, I'm getting these feelings again. Like, and I'm like, so I'm projecting all of this, and this movie's kind of keeping me guessing the whole time.
I actually never suspected Pam, because, and I'll tell you why, because Pam like is very open with the fact that she's got a rage issue. Like she's very sincere with it, and doesn't, like, she can't hide it. Like she gets pissed, she's about to be breaking dishes. And so like to me, she couldn't have ever been the killer, because she is too sincere. Like she's sincere, and like, and when she gets mad, she's mad for good reasons, and like she's not waiting to follow somebody to their house to put an axe in their head. So like I knew that it couldn't be her. I did think maybe the dad, because he was so kindly, and like I don't trust that. But I immediately suspected the cop that we get introduced to.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
ex-boyfriend.
Yeah. So I didn't suspect the dad at all. I did maybe George, and I did definitely suspect the cop. So, but I didn't the dad or Pammy.
We have to unpack George, because when he goes after George, and just to remind the audience, George is just a guy who came into the shop, an older gentleman who is looking to buy something at the shop, but he's like heavy, gross flirting with Pam. Okay.
Arm touches, the
arm touch. You know, if I were 20 years younger, something like that, I think was what he said. And the voice is like, I'm getting one of those feelings again. You got to kill George. And, you know, Billy seems a little nervous about, a little resistant. When he goes to kill George, however, all of a sudden we get a chapter card. And I was like, what? We're doing chapter cards?
I loved the chapter cards. Like Roadhouse style.
Yes.
Kill George. It was like
Kill Bill is what I felt. I
was thinking like Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that is funny. Like we're fully leaning into the violence of this grindhouse style. Sign me up.
To me, this was a little bit of an homage to that 1984. Like the title credits were a direct homage to the title credits in the 1984. The end credits were as well. And these title cards that we get throughout, like all, like, even though obviously we didn't have title cards in the 1984 version, they were not that sophisticated. It still felt like kind of an homage to, like, this is still an 80s slasher, by the way.
We have to talk about the other, like, brilliant chapter card, which is, Billy has to go kill Daphne next.
Delphine.
Oh, Delphine. Sorry, Delphine. And I'm just like, oh God, why does he have to kill Delphine?
So we meet Delphine, so Pammy and Billy are like developing their relationship, and Pam has to go see her nephew play hockey, I think it is.
Yeah.
And it's a sports. And so they go to the sports ball, and this woman, this Karen in the background, is screaming at her kid apparently and going, "You're playing like shit, you lazy little fuck." Like, just verbally abusing this kid in the crowd.
Oh, I thought we were supposed to like her.
Huh?
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally
like, what?
This is the most we've ever agreed on a movie. Like,
but yeah,
so we meet her, and like, the mission couldn't be more clear. Like, I was fully on board with it. I was like, do your thing, King.
Yeah. Yes, but we don't really know the full depth. Like, we just know she's a shitty mom, and we don't know anything about George except for the fact he was kind of a creepy flirt. But is that reason enough to be killed by Billy? I don't know, until Billy pulls up and
wait. But before you do this big reveal, I just want to interject one thing. Like, so the reason that I'm rooting for Billy killing the creepy flirt in the store and the Karen is because at this point I'm like thinking that he's kind of like a Hannibal Lecter sort of killer. He kills people who are rude and who are gross. Not necessarily like horrifying, but like, I'm still kind of on his side with it. Like, but then we get to this reveal that you're about to give us.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you're right, because at this point, we're like, he still could just be crazy.
Yeah.
Like, this could just be psychosis. Like, he hears a voice in his head, and that, because we get another flash when he meets Delphine. And once again, I think these flashes are him projecting killing her. I don't know what these flashes are because they're so quick. And he pulls up to this kind of like hangar in kind of like an empty air park type area. And there's security at the door. And he walks in, and we just see everyone dressed up as Santa. I'm like, okay, that's funny. Just a room full of Santas.
Worth noting, he is like, I don't think we ever mentioned this. He is dressed up as Santa.
He is also. Yeah, he only killed as Santa, as dressed up as Santa, which they don't really explain. But and then all of a sudden the camera pans and we see a bunch of Nazi flags. And they bring the chapter card back on screen. And instead of the chapter card saying kill Delphine, it erases Delphine and puts Nazis. And I was telling Meagan before we started recording, I audibly laughed in the theater. I went,
I literally I must be the most annoying person in the whole movie theater, because I was like, yes.
That's my reaction as well.
And shocking, they don't like the movie, by the way.
Oh, weird. So weird.
Yeah.
So strange.
Yeah. They're angry about the movie.
But I love this reveal though. So like everybody is dressed up as Santas, and then we pan up and see like this like straight out of like Nazi Germany Nazi flag display. And then our Karen Delphine comes out she's wearing this weird, like, it's Santa themed, but she's tried to sex it up with some black leather corsetry, and of course she's got that classic Nazi cap on, and she takes the mic to thank everyone for like celebrating a white power Christmas.
Yep.
Right.
A white power, white
But
Christmas.
before that, they are jamming to like a rap song. So let's just say what?
That's right. I
Oh,
didn't
what?
clock that. You're right. They were listening to they were listening to they were appropriating music.
That's crazy. I obviously did not clock that.
This is where I actually realized the voice is there to protect him and is actually a mentor, not just a GPS, not just someone crazy, but actually a sentient presence that has an investment in his safety, in his like, because the voice starts saying, "Kid, at least get a gun." Like, he's like, "This is dangerous. Get a gun." And the best, probably my favorite line in the movie: "Guns are for pussies." As he grabs his axe.
Same. And then and the gun comment gets brought up again because Charlie, our inner voice, is trying to like protect Philly and is like urging him to get a gun again. Because like somebody comes out with an Uzi. So a gun would be handy, but Billy's answer is, "I have principles." Just he's acquitted instantly.
So
He
we
couldn't
have
have
this.
done it. He was with me the whole evening.
He takes out a whole hangar full of Nazis, and there you go. Yeah,
And he
I
does
wonder
get
what
injured
they-
during this. He gets significantly injured. Like,
Yeah.
it's shot a couple times.
yeah.
Well, because Delphine took out like a 1940s style machine gun and just starts like, I mean, she might have killed a few more Nazis than he did, on accident.
She was the main killer. It was the best part. Like, so like she sees that the Axeman is just like taking people out one by one. And so she decides she's going to be the good guy with the gun, but of course she's an incompetent Karen who's been in the eggnog all night. So like she comes out and just sprays into the crowd, like, which, because like the guy with the axe is dressed as Santa, and guess what? Everyone is dressed as Santa. So she just sprays into the crowd, and then she's like, "Oh fuck." And she realizes she just killed way more people than our Santa.
Yeah. We do get our decapitation though.
Yes.
Finally, yeah, we get our decapitation where she.
I want that still framed for my wall.
So satisfying.
It was
Very.
so she takes off on an ATV because of course she does. And this is our clothesline scene. This is I didn't realize this. This is our 1984 reference to the sled clothesline. But like he like clotheslines her as she's coming by on the ATV, and we get this beautiful, gratuitous, gory, and glorious shot of her head like rolling through the air and landing in the snow. Amazing. With her Nazi cap still on.
Yep.
Flawless. 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
This is why I go to the movies.
So visually satisfying.
Yes.
From here, we're going to go into a lot of explanation and exposition. We are going to learn a whole bunch of stuff, and a lot of stuff is going to start to be revealed from. We're going to see a little bit more about opening up about this child kidnapper. I think the snatcher. And that, we're going to start to learn a little bit more about that. We're also going to start to hear a little bit more of Charlie talking to Billy, understanding that there is a ritual that needs to happen. We learned that he's been doing this for 10 years. Okay, so he's been doing this. I don't remember his age in this, but
he made his first kill at 17, so he would be 27.
27, going on 28, right around there. Yeah. So 10 years he's been doing this, and he has to kill someone every day to then smear their blood into this advent calendar. And we're given the idea that if he skips a day, something bad happens. or someone dies that what Charlie says is someone dies that you don't get to choose who it was.
Yeah.
Okay. And all of a sudden I realized as he's developing this deeper relationship with Pam, I think they finally get the kink on in the storeroom. This time he gets the kink on with his coworker, not the stock manager. Which, by the way, they're like having sex and knocking each other into boxes. Does any box have stuff in it in this storeroom? Because all these boxes are empty. But
it's
all
the
unpacked.
equivalent of when they're carrying coffee in any scene, like they're carrying coffee and walking down the street in any scene, and they're doing like all kinds of crazy stuff with that coffee cup because there's nothing in it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Unlike this, there is.
it is always a total give in a movie when someone sets a coffee cup down, because you just hear an empty cup hit
Yep.
a table. It drives me crazy. But we still don't like, as he's developing this relationship with Pam, all of a sudden I'm doing the math in my mind and realize he skipped a day. 12/23. He didn't do 12/23. And then it's revealed that another kid gets taken, and the voice says, that's what happened. You skipped a day and a kid got taken. But we learned the kid didn't die. The kid survived. So did that fall apart? Was that a mistake, or was that, or
his
do I
life
not understand
was
the rules?
taken, but because like he was taken, so his life has been taken. He isn't dead yet, but his life has been taken. I think maybe like, because if he had done his due diligence and killed like he was supposed to on the 23rd, maybe that kid wouldn't have gotten snatched. So like
I understood
it's thin logic, but also I felt it was a little unfair because like he put in some really good work on the 22nd. Like he killed like 37 people.
Yeah.
Like, does that not count?
Doesn't one roll over? Right.
That should cover you for at least 2 years.
Yeah.
Like,
at least.
Yeah.
It was a little upsetting. It made me feel like when you can't roll over your vacation hours into the next year. That's how it felt to me.
Obviously, HR was not brought into this conversation because the work conditions are pretty rough here. I think he's not unionized. Obviously,
absolutely no. They do need to unionize. Did you the bruises that he comes to work with?
Workman's comp all day long on that. But he decides to open up to Pam. I'm gonna tell you what is going on. And the voice is trying to say, don't do this, kid. Don't do it. But he opens up to Pam, and this is where we learn all these flashes we're seeing are not future projections of him killing these people. This is him being shown all the evil things they did and why they deserve to be punished. So George killed his wife.
Oh yeah, but at this point, George has been found by his kids in a really horrible way, which was great. Yeah. Loved that. Like they're wandering around the house, like what died in here, and then they find George in the armchair. Oh,
yeah,
beautiful. Yeah.
Axe to the head. What way did I? Love it.
We already knew Delphine was evil, being she was a Nazi, but we then got to see how evil she was.
Yeah, we get to see this scene. It's just a very quick flash, but she has a woman who is apparently like undocumented or something, and she has like tied her to a chair in front of like one of those target practice things and is using this woman as target practice. So we see like she has been targeting like people of different races and murdering them. So she was a serial killer too.
Yeah. Also, we skipped over it. We've seen a lot of the ex-boyfriend Max, who we know has been abusive to Pam and we know is kind of stalking Pam. But every time he is within the vicinity of Billy, the voice chimes in to say, I'm getting one of those feelings again.
Yep.
But Billy's never able to connect it. He's never
Yes.
able to see
Never.
Max in time. Max goes around a corner, or something happens, or Billy gets distracted. So they're hinting that something's up with Max, but we do not know. My belief watching this is, oh, this is the voice trying just to protect Billy from someone who's going to hurt him. I'm not seeing this as, oh, this is the big bad or one of the big bads here.
And just for clarity, Max, the ex-boyfriend, is the cop that we were talking about earlier that Meagan and I hated on site.
Yeah.
But as Billy's like opening up to Pam, we're learning all about how he sees things. And now we get the rest of the flashbacks to when his parents were killed, and he feels compelled to touch Charlie's hand as Charlie's dying, because the mother had shot Charlie right as she was dying herself. And this power got transferred, this spirit, this curse, this possession got transferred from Charlie's dying body into Billy. And that is how Billy started hearing Charlie's voice immediately. And what we learned was that Billy's parents poisoned their father, or their father's father, so they could claim his inheritance. And that's why they were saying, how many pills did you give him? Was the paperwork signed? The paperwork of the inheritance, of the will, of the, the trust. That was going to then go to the parents. So the reason his parents were killed was not because they just happened to stop as good Samaritans for a broken down car in Santa. They were killed because they just killed the father. And now Billy has adopted this. I don't know what it is. A spirit, a curse, a possession, a
multiple personality. Yeah.
He's Santa.
A multiple personality.
He becomes literal Santa. Like he literally becomes the guy who says naughty or nice. He literally becomes endowed with a magical list because he is Santa. The legends have gotten it wrong the whole time. Santa is actually the guy who decides naughty or nice, but like he doesn't bring presents.
He gets a conscience. Like he gets a conscience, yeah. Like
so that was my interpretation. Like he is actually like the spirit of Christmas is a lot darker than we've ever believed, and the magical power is the power of Santa Claus.
It's the Krampus ideology.
Yes.
And then we get a flashback of all the kills, or like a montage flashback of the kills that he had to go through to become the man he is today. And we finally get the antlers.
Yes.
They hinted the antlers at George's house, by the way. The antlers were on George's wall, but he didn't use them. I was like, oh, there's the antlers. And then we didn't get them. I was like, oh. But we finally get the antlers with the foster mom.
Yeah.
That was so satisfying as well.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that was just really satisfying as well. That's what I wanted.
It was so satisfying because we get this great flashback of like this, this like prototypical evil foster mom. I think they even like kind of modeled her off of Ruby Frankie, who is not a foster mom, but who is a famously bad mom. And like we see her abusing kids, starving kids, locking them in their rooms. Like we learned that like 3 kids died in her care while she collected the checks. And then we see her get impaled on the antlers, and it is Billy's first kill. And it was again like one of those moments where I'm sure I'm the most annoying person to be in the theater with, because I'm just like going, yes.
Yeah, you're rooting for him the whole time. Like it's very justifiable. Like this woman was a horrible woman, and like for people who do that, like this, I love how they took like real instances of like people who are really like this bad in life, and like with all the kills, you know what I mean? Like having that backstory of like how they are, like people are like that, and that's it felt so like satisfying each one of these kills.
you just like tapped into, I think, what the core like theme of this movie. This movie is like almost an apology for like the gratuity that we saw in the original 1984. Now these kills are being rewritten with like a lens of justice and weirdly empathy. I realize empathy is a weird word to throw around when we're murdering people, but like, you know, it had like we're doing the same thing through a completely different lens and with completely different motivations.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. They did reframe and give new context to all the original kills, because in this montage, not only do we see the antlers, we see the chainsaw and we see the arrow.
Mm-hmm.
So they took it back, is what they did. They took it back. They reclaimed it. Here's my problem. My problem is the 1984 version existed. That's my problem. And this is why it's even more of a problem, besides from the fact I hate that movie, is I had the expectation that this movie would play the same beat. So when it didn't play similar beats, like, for example, it didn't show what happened when he was a kid till much later in the movie, I was like, well, wait, we're just going to skip over all this stuff? And originally I was like frustrated. I'm like, well, I need to know why he's killing people. This movie did it better. It did it perfectly to withhold that information until the third act, to withhold all those kills until the third act and do it in a montage. That was how it can be done well. That was the ideas done effectively, with good intention, with good execution, pardon the pun. And I was so mad that I ever expected it to be like the 1984 version. And shame on me for having that expectation, but shame more on the people who made the 1984 version for giving me that expectation.
Yes.
I love it.
I'm so glad they also took out like all the nudity. Like I'm so like happy that they did that, because I felt like I could actually like watch the movie and actually give it a fair chance.
Yes, yeah. Like I never mind nudity in
Me
films,
either.
but like
I'm not a prude. So
yeah, I know. Like I'm picking up what you're putting down. Like I don't mind nudity in films, but what I was watching was nudity for the male gaze, violence against women for the male gaze. Like
yeah.
like just gross.
Exactly.
Like the nudity was there and not for like any good faith reason. So like this was, and like, by the way, James, I think you were supposed to go in with the expectation that this would be exactly like the 1984 version. I think that's why they planted all those Easter eggs. Like you see the antlers, and you're thinking that that's going to be the thing, but know that nope, they're going to make you wait a little longer. They wanted you to go in with that expectation so that they could like wow your socks right off.
I'm sockless. They fired right off my feet, right against the silver screen.
I also like that they took out like all the religious stuff as well. Like I just felt like it wasn't needed or necessary to make somebody feel guilt. So I did like really appreciate that aspect of it.
So the end, like the final encapsulation of the movie, I think is probably the least interesting. Not that it wasn't good. It's just, okay, you know, he goes to the abandoned park and he finds the kids, and, you know, he fights with the snatcher, but off camera, so you don't really see it happening.
Can we
You just kind of hear it.
Can we back up and just say how awful it was to see the dad die?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
So
that kind of sucked.
We see the dad closing up shop, and he hears thumping coming from a car, and so he goes and he sees it's a kid we've seen before in the movie. It's Tommy.
Yep.
And so he's like, I'm gonna get help, don't worry. And Tommy's like desperately banging on the window, like, look behind you.
The classic trope. You know, he's trying to get his attention, look behind him, and
yeah. But of course, like all the dad sees is like, yeah, I hear you. You're trying to get out. Don't worry, I'm coming with help. And then splat.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's important to bring up because that was the catalyst that put Billy in a position to defy Charlie's advice and open up to Pam, say, I can find who did this. I can help you. You want to bring justice to your father in a visceral way. That's me. I'm the axe.
Yeah, because Pam is our dark horse, and she tells Billy very specifically, I want to find who did this and cut them up piece by piece. Like she describes it, she means it, and you could tell like she's got that eye of the touch. There's something dark in her. And that's why Billy feels safe to be like, I'm your Huckleberry.
You know the actual phrase, because this is a movie podcast, is I'm your hucklebearer. Did you know that? Meagan,
I'm gonna start like bringing glasses on here just so that I can put them on and adjust them every time you do this nerdy nonsense.
Well, okay. So the only reason, so there's a reason I know this, and the reason I know this is twofold. One, because that movie's fucking awesome. Two, because I worked in Tombstone for years. I was the photo editor of the newspaper, the Tombstone Epitaph, and so I have a oddly deep understanding of that town more than I should and more than I want to. But what he say, but that line never made sense to me. I'll be your huckleberry, because I'm like, what is the cartoon? Cartoons didn't exist. Like I never understood what he's trying to say. I'll be your hucklebear. A hucklebear is the person who, it's a pallbearer. I'll carry your casket. That's what he's saying to the guy. I'll carry your casket.
I mean, that really, really works here, because next thing you know, they're like, Charlie leads them, because Charlie is our omniscient narrator. He knows where the killer is. So like they are able to just like psychically locate them in this like abandoned whatever. It's a sign we've seen before. It's like a lumber or tree yard or something like that. We
saw it in the opening.
And our very first Vic from the motel room worked for that same place. So what's going on here? And what I thought was really impressive is when we get the reveal, obviously the kids are trapped in a basement under a trapdoor, another classic trope. And like we're very anxious because we can feel that there's like a killer outside that's going to be coming into surprise. So we're just like, get the kids and get out. But I thought this was so creative. You open the trapdoor and it's a ball pit like in Chuck E. Cheese.
Yep.
And that's where the kids are. And they're all zip tied and drugged. I'm not sure what the motivations of this kidnapping were. But I don't think we're meant to ask those questions. It was
I don't want to know. I'm okay not knowing.
It's honestly just good, clean fun. These kids are being stashed in a ball pit. Like it was kind of cutesy. But so they rescue the kids, but our boyfriend Max, the dirty cop, comes in.
Yeah. And I also want to say that I love the no fear of Pammy just like diving in and going and rescuing those kids. Like she had no fear. She was just like, I don't care what you're saying. I don't care there's a killer in there. I don't care. I'm going to get these kids out. Like she was just in for it. So
we had to see, there had to be a balance, because all we've seen we've seen the rage side of her and we've seen the soft side of her. We haven't seen the heroic side of her.
Yeah.
We needed that balance to be like, because you know what we're going to see in the final reveal is who she becomes. We need to see that she can be the one that will fight evil.
Yep.
More than just like react to rage.
Yeah.
She can fight. And that's why she dove into that ball pit.
Yeah. She was so well written. She had a lot of depth to her. I really enjoyed her character very much.
And perfectly acted as well.
Yeah, good choice.
But so, James, you want to tell us what happens after Max shows up?
Oh, so Max shows up and we see that Max he's been the cop hiding the evidence that has been allowing the snatcher He's being paid off by the Snatcher, allowing the Snatcher to snatch away, right? We don't really see who the Snatcher is. It's kind of like that. I thought that was going to be a bigger reveal of, oh, it's that guy, but we've kind of killed everyone in the movie by this point. It's just a guy who just happens to be tangentially connected to the person he killed at the beginning of the movie off screen. But the real thing we learn is that Max has been allowing this to happen. He's been paid off. And then Max shoots Billy and kills him. And
no.
Oh
No.
I knew Billy had to go.
Yeah.
But then of course we see history kind of repeat itself because like, so Billy's last act is like, take my hand to Pammy, and Pammy does, and we see the big glowy red light again, the transfer of power. And one thing that I noticed and I wrote down is, so Pam is not wearing a Santa suit. Billy obviously is, because he's always in his Santa suit for when he kills. Pam, she just got her Santa powers, but she's not in a Santa suit. But do you know what she is wearing? She's wearing a red leather jacket.
Yeah.
And she even has basically a beard of blood on her, because they foreshadowed this earlier in the movie, and then it happened and it was great. She bites the nose off of her abusive ex-boyfriend. Like, she chomps his nose right off, and then she offers it back to him before she offs him. This is why we go to the movies. It was beautiful. I clapped. But so yeah, she is like subtly dressed as Santa. So like that was like this cool foreshadowing that I didn't pick up on until the power transferred, and I was like, oh.
I didn't catch that. I love that idea of the red jacket, suited up. Yeah, I really like that. And yeah, and then she offs Max. She does him bad. Like it is one of the most violent on camera deaths we see, and I think intentionally. We are meant, and not in a exploitative way. You enjoy watching Max get it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, he helped the whole situation. He helped the kids getting, kidnapped. He helped all that. So
yeah, it was. So a lot of people like to reference movies like I Spit on Your Grave and say, no, it's actually great because she gets all the revenge in the end. And for me, no version of Spit on Your Grave is worth watching because of the first half. I
was going to bring that up and ask because, and Megan, have you seen I Spit on Your Grave? The original from, was it late 70s, early 80s? No. It's Deliverance meets softcore porn. There is one of the most uncomfortable, longest, most exploitative rape scenes I think that has ever been put on camera, and it was done for men to enjoy it.
Exactly.
It was not done. And I struggle with it because the rest of the movie is her getting her comeuppance and killing all the people who went at her in the most graphic, violent, visceral ways. And I was like, is that enough of a balance there? And I don't know. I can't watch the movie again because of that first half of the movie, even though I like the revenge she got. But I don't know.
So much better. We know that he assaulted Pam. Like she says, you punched me in the face. You don't get a second chance. We don't see him punch her in the face. The only violence that we see from him is him calling her a lot, and he comes up behind her and touches her shoulders in that creepy like manager kind of way.
I am here to control you.
Yeah, like so we see coercive control, and we hear about violence. We don't see the violence. We don't need to. We know it's there. Like every woman in the audience knows what male violence looks like, and we don't ever need to see another scene of it that's specifically written so that men can enjoy it. So we see a very graphic revenge scene in this film that is so satisfying. but we never have to see like the exploitative scenes. Like I won't even watch Game of Thrones anymore because of this kind of stuff. Like
Mhm.
I can't do it. So so this to me was like such a great example of how you can do a gory revenge for the girls without exploiting the girls first.
Mm-hmm.
Well said. Perfectly said. Okay. Let's start final deliberations, and then we'll get our verdicts. Kat, since you're up on screen, we'll start with you.
I mean, I just gave it to you. This is the perfect example of like women getting revenge without being exploited, and then without them, we don't have to see the exploitation. It had the perfect amount of gore. I love the scene with the intestines coming out, and they look comically fake. So like it's just so good. I had a blast at this movie, and I really didn't expect to, because I'm not really an 80s slasher girl, and I was kind of expecting something more like the 1984 version. And I didn't get that. And like the whole time I was there, I was like, this is why I go to the movies. And so yeah, 10 out of 10. This movie is innocent of being a dud.
Perfect. All right, Meagan.
I really enjoyed this film. I thought there was so many great qualities. I felt very satisfied with every kill. I even got like a little Dexter feel for it, where it was justified. If you guys watched Dexter, I found it to not drag. Like I heard a few people, after reading reviews, that it dragged, and I didn't think or felt like it dragged at all. I felt like it was just an ongoing conversation. I loved the voice. It was so creepy, beautiful, and charming at the same time. I also just really loved how poetic the end was, where when the transfer of the person went into Pammy and it was Billy's voice. That for me just was just so beautiful. So I am definitely giving this 2 thumbs up, and it not guilty. And please go watch it, because it is a great film just to watch.
Oh my God, because they said at the end, I want to go where you go. I want to stay with you.
Yeah.
And now they get to. Oh my God.
So
I didn't
poetic.
together.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that was coming. Like as soon as he said that, I'm like, all right, they're setting that up. There's nothing else to say other than this movie is the perfect example of a subversion of expectation. There is an expectation one has going into this movie. This movie defies every hint of that expectation, and it does so beautifully. It does so perfectly. This is one of the most fun movies I've seen in a theater in a long time, perhaps even this year. This is top of the list, and I am shocked that the release is as limited as it is. And I think because this is not a known quantity director, this is not a known quantity cast. This I think will make all of its money back and then some on streaming and on video release, because you could not have done a better job with this, not just with this franchise, because the bar was so low on this franchise, with the slasher genre in general. Perfect movie. Could not recommend it more. So 3 absolute not guilties. I put this up full acquittal. This movie absolutely needs to be seen. So thank you to our listeners for tuning into this episode of the Film Jury Podcast, and huge thanks to both Meagan and Kat for enjoying this movie, but also subjecting themselves to the original 1984 film. And we will all be catching you in the new year with we're coming back in January with, I believe we're going to be doing creature feature films in January, so stay tuned for that. You can get Film Jury wherever you get your podcast, also on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next screening. Take care, everyone.